First in the spotlight tonight, Adam Gilchrist, a broadcaster from London. His specialist subject, the sitcom Frasier. Cliff Horton is a retired brewer from Warrington. His subject, Warrington Rugby League. Next in the black chair, Chris Cummins, a university lecturer from Edinburgh. His subject, another sitcom, Absolutely Fabulous. Madeline Grant is a website manager from London, and she's answering questions on Jane Austen. And Alfred Williams, a curator from East Yorkshire, on the French composer Erik Satie. Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. Tonight, 5 semi-finalists have been here before, of course, but an even bigger challenge now awaits. Tonight's winner goes through to the grand final. They will get only a minute and a half of questions on their specialist subject and then 2 minutes on their general knowledge. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Adam Gilchrist.
Your occupation?
Broadcaster.
And your chosen subject?
Frasier.
Frasier. In 90 seconds, starting now. What is the name of Niall's wife, who's described by Frasier in the pilot episode as like the sun, except without the warmth?
Maris.
Yes. In Room Full of Heroes, Frasier throws a fancy dress party and asks everyone to come dressed as their hero. Whom does Niles come dressed as?
His father.
Yep. The Mayor of Seattle stages a Frasier Crane Day rally to celebrate the 1000th episode of Frasier's radio show at the foot of which landmark?
The Space Needle.
Yep. Frasier delivers the speech at his son's bar mitzvah, not in Hebrew, as he'd been told, but in what other language?
Klingon.
Yes. In which Seattle condominium block does Frasier live in apartment 1901?
Elliott Bay Towers.
Yep. Who makes a guest appearance as Jackson Headley, the former classical actor who introduced the young Frasier to the works of Shakespeare?
Pass.
In The Two Mrs. Cranes, Daphne's old fiancé, Clive, comes to Seattle to win her back. What does Martin tell him was his occupation before his retirement?
Astronaut.
Yes. What is the name of Frasier's agent who tries to give up smoking in order to marry the radio station KACL's new owner, the Texan millionaire nicknamed Big Willie?
B.B. Glazer.
Yep. Frasier and Niles take over Orsini's restaurant to stop it going out of business. What new name do they give it?
Les Frères Heureux.
Yep. Which real-life singer-songwriter plays Ben, whose performances at Cafe Nervosa forced the Crane brothers to try a different coffee shop?
Elvis Costello.
Yep. In the episode Author, Frasier agrees to co-write a book with Niles on what theme?
Psychiatry.
No, sibling relationships. What item of furniture is brought into Frasier's apartment in the pilot episode and removed just before Frasier accepts the San Francisco job at the end of the final series?
His father's horrible chair.
Yeah, Martin's armchair. Exactly right. Just one pass. That former classical actor was Sir Derek Jacobi. You've scored, though, Adam, 10 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Cliff Horton.
Your occupation?
Retired brewer.
And your chosen subject?
Warrington Rugby League Club.
In 90 seconds, here we go. When Warrington won the league and cup double in 1954, their Challenge Cup final at Wembley was a draw. An estimated 120,000 people watched Warrington win the replay at what stadium?
Botsall Stadium.
Yep. Which Warrington player won the Lance Todd Trophy for his man-of-the-match performance in both the 1950 and 54 Challenge Cup finals?
Jerry Helm.
Yep. Warrington won their first match by 5 points to 4 in the Northern Union in 1895. Which team did they beat?
Hunslet.
Yes. Who bought a controlling interest and became chairman of Warrington Rugby League Club in May 71?
Simon Moran.
Ossie Davies. In December 1929, Warrington beat the Australian touring team by 17 points to 8. Who scored all of Warrington's points?
Tommy Thompson.
Yep. How many successive Super League games did Warrington lose at the start of the 2017 season before they gained their first point with a 22-all draw with Hull FC?
6.
Yep. In August of 1983, which car radio manufacturer became the first company to sponsor Warrington Rugby League team's shirts?
Sparkomatic.
Yep. Who scored for Warrington in every one of their 2008 Super League matches and in both of their Challenge Cup matches?
Chris Hicks.
Yep. Who is the only Warrington player to have scored more than 200 tries and more than 200 goals for the club?
Jack Fish.
Yep. In the Rugby League Challenge Cup match played on the 20th of May 2011, Warrington scored 112 points. How many did Swinton score?
0.
Yes. Who scored 3 tries and kicked 10 goals for Warrington in their final game at the Wilderspool Stadium in September 2003?
Graham Apple.
Yep. Which British Lions rugby union player signed professional terms with Warrington in 1973? He scored a try in his first match against Castleford.
Martin Regan.
No, it was John Bevan. However, you've scored, Cliff, 10 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Chris Cummins.
Your occupation?
University lecturer.
And your chosen subject?
Absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely fabulous. 90 seconds. Here we go. In the episode Fat, what does Eddie's mother reply when Eddie declares, "Inside of me there's a thin person just screaming to get out"?
Just the one, dear.
Yes. What implement does Eddie use to put out the 40 candles on her birthday cake in Series 1?
Fire extinguisher.
Yep. When Safi returns from 2 years in prison, she's surprised to learn that Eddie is watching a foreign television programme with subtitles. Which programme?
Killing.
Yep. In Absolutely Fabulous, the movie, whose name is attached to the brick thrown through Eddie's window?
Stella McCartney.
Yes, Eddie goes on a detox diet in the episode Donkey and says her ambition is that in 3 weeks' time she will be on the cusp of what?
Pass.
Which celebrity client of Eddie's was at school with Safi and remembers her as a brilliant head girl?
Emma Bunton.
Yep. In the episode Fear, Eddie interrupts Safi during a university lecture because she needs Safi's help to use what implement?
Coffee maker?
No, can opener. When the television presenter Katie Grin appears on Comic Relief covered in green gunk, she says that she will have whose guts for garters?
Dawn French.
Yes. At the book club meeting, Mariella Frostrup tries to encourage a 5-minute literary discussion on the pocket-sized, abridged version of what book?
Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah. When Safi and Gran are preparing food for the New Year's Eve party, Eddie arrives on rollerblades and announces that her resolution for 1995 will be to have more...
Fun.
Yes. In the episode ISO Tank, what does Eddie threaten to get from abroad if she's not allowed to go to Safi's sixth form open day?
A Romanian baby.
Yeah. What publication does Patsy describe as the who's who and the what's left of the British aristocracy while she and Eddie are on a hunting weekend that costs £30,000?
Debrets.
Yep. Gran makes a sign saying, "It's me, dears," to hold up at the airport for her friends Mac and Millie, who are arriving on a flight from which American city?
Miami.
No, you're very close, actually, Orlando. So you're in the right state, at any rate. You had one pass. When Eddie went on that detox diet, she said in 3 weeks' time she'll be on the cusp of organ failure. You remember it now. Chris, you also have 10 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Madeline Grant.
Your occupation?
Website manager.
And your chosen subject?
The Life and Novels of Jane Austen.
Jane Austen. In 90 seconds, here we go. In 1811, what was the first of Jane Austen's novels to be published? Her brother Henry had made the initial contact with the publishers Edgerton's of Whitehall.
Sense and Sensibility.
Yep. In Emma, when the party was unable to go to Box Hill after a horse became lame, Mr. Knightley proposes they pick fruit in his garden at Donwell instead. Which fruit?
Strawberry.
Yep. Which breed of dog does Lady Bertram own in Mansfield Park? She appears to love it more than her children.
Pug.
Yep. What was the name of the Irish law student with whom Austen danced while he was staying near her home in Steventon? He was sent away by his family when it became clear they were falling in love.
Tom Lefroy.
Yep. In an attempt to win Mr. Darcy's favour, who says there is no enjoyment like reading?
Caroline Bingley.
Yes. To which member of the royal family did Austen reluctantly dedicate Emma after she had visited his library at Carlton House?
Prince Regent.
Yes. In Persuasion, what is the title of the only book that Sir Walter Elliot of Kellynch Hall ever took up?
The Baronetcy.
No, the baronetage. Whom does the odious clergyman Mr. Collins marry after Elizabeth Bennet has rejected him in Pride and Prejudice?
Charlotte Lucas.
Yep. What is the name of the street in Winchester where Austen and her sister Cassandra took rooms so that Austen could be nearer to her surgeon, Mr. Lyford, shortly before her death?
Pass.
What is the name of the clergyman whom Emma Woodhouse tries to persuade to marry her friend Harriet Smith? She fails to realise that he intends to propose to Emma herself.
Mr. Elton.
Yep, in Sense and Sensibility, which of Shakespeare's plays was read by the Dashwoods with Mr. Willoughby before he was called away?
Hamlet.
Yep, to which Hampshire village did Austen's mother and her daughters move in 1808 to a former bailiff's cottage?
Chawton.
Correct, in Mansfield Park, when Sir Thomas Bertram orders a ball to be held for Fanny Price and her brother William. The only piece of jewellery that Fanny has to wear is an item that William had given her. What is it?
An amber cross.
It is indeed. And you had one pass. The name of that street in Winchester was College Street. Madeline, you have 11 points. And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Alfred Williams.
Your occupation?
Assistant Curator.
And your specialist subject?
The life and music of Erik Satie.
Erik Satie. In 90 seconds, here we go. The French composer Erik Satie was known by a nickname after he bought 7 identical suits from a department store in 1895. What was it?
Velvet Gentleman.
Yep. What instrument does Satie play in an 1891 sketch by the Catalan painter Santiago Rusiñol?
Harmonium.
Yep. From which of Plato's dialogues did Satie take the text for Les Bords de Lycius, the second part of his symphonic drama Socrate?
Phaedrus.
Yep. What is the name of the unfashionable suburb of Paris that became Satie's home after 1898?
Arcueil.
Yep. Satie joined the French Socialist Party in August 1914 after the assassination of a socialist leader. What was his name?
Jules Geoffrey.
No, Jean Jaurès. What was the name of the cult associated with the French novelist and mystic Tsar Josephine Pellerin that Satie was linked with?
Rosicrucians.
Yep. Which composer's music was quoted and parodied by Satie in his piano work Sonatine Bureaucratique?
Clementi.
Yep. What is the title of the short manifesto by Jean Cocteau that claimed that Satie was an ideal model for young French composers?
Le Coq et l'Arlequin.
Yes. Which of his works did Satie describe in the score as utterly incomprehensible, even to me?
Vexations.
Embryon desséché. What is the title of the deliberately provocative 1917 ballet that Satie created with Cocteau, Picasso and Massine for Diaghilev's Ballet Russe?
Parade.
Yep. Which celebrated composer orchestrated the first and third of Satie's piano compositions, Trois Gymnopédies?
Debussy.
Yep. Which music critic was Satie convicted of libelling? He was sentenced to a week in prison, but that was later suspended on a promise of good behaviour.
Fouet.
Yep. What unusual percussion instrument is required in the music for acrobats in Part 3 of Parade?
Siren.
The bouteille au fond. No passes, Alfred. You have scored 10 points. Well, that is a very close contest. Let's have a look at all of the scores. In joint second place, 10 points apiece, Adam, Cliff, Chris and Alfred. In first place with 11 points, Madeline. So it is the general knowledge round now, and if there's a tie at the end of it, which there very well might be, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. So let us get on with it and ask Adam to join us again, please. Right, you have 10 points, but then so does almost everybody else, to start this round with. So here we go. Which is the only county that shares a border with Cornwall?
Devon.
Yep. The name of which maiden of Norse mythology means chooser of the slain because they determined which fighters were worthy of a place in Valhalla?
Pass.
A hippophagist is someone who eats the meat of what animal?
Carnivores.
Horse. Which island republic, along with the Bahamas, is separated from the Florida Keys by the Straits of Florida?
Cuba.
Yep. What is the popular name for chlorophytum, a houseplant of African origin that has long, thin green leaves with a light stripe down the middle?
An eggplant.
Spider plant. Frederick Clegg is the title character of John Fowles' debut novel, which was made into a film that stars Terence Stamp. What's the book's title?
The Collector.
Yeah. What historic site on the Thames near Egham has a name that comes from the Old English for meadow where councils are held? Magna Carta was sealed there in 1215.
Runnymede.
Yep. Ivan Petrovich Voynitsky is known by the familiar form of his forename in the title of which Chekhov play?
Ivan the Terrible.
Uncle Vanya. Who gave the name Etruria to the pottery factory in the Stoke-on-Trent area that he opened with his partner, Thomas Bentley, in 1769?
Wedgwood.
Yes. In which 1963 film does Paul Newman play the title role of the arrogant and egotistical son of a proud Texas rancher?
HUD.
Yep. Who wrote the 57 Pulitzer Prize-winning book Profiles in Courage, an account of 8 American senators who defied popular opinion on matters of conscience?
Truman Capote.
John F. Kennedy. In 1990, the former Czechoslovakia national football coach Dr. Josef Venglos became the first foreign manager in English football's top flight. Which club did he take over for one unsuccessful season?
Tottenham.
Aston Villa. The metacarpals are bones found in what part of the human body?
The hands. And
Yes.
feet.
In The Simpsons, which actress provided the voice of Maggie when she spoke her first word, Daddy?
Pass.
Who became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic in May 1932?
Amelia Earhart.
Yes, a diarist and fervent admirer of Margaret Thatcher was accused of being drunk on his first appearance at the dispatch box in the House of Commons soon after he was made a parliamentary under-secretary in 1983. What was his name?
Pass.
What word for a shallow wooden basket for carrying flowers, fruit or other produce is thought to be a dialect version of trough?
A...
Go on, I'll put you out of your misery, so like.
Yeah, a dish. No idea.
No, it was a trug. The other pass is Alan Clark was that diarist. Elizabeth Taylor was that actor in The Simpsons. And those maidens of Norse mythology were the Valkyries. You've scored a total now, Adam, of 18 points. And now Cliff again, please. And another 10-pointer, as it were. And 18 is the score to beat as it stands. And you have 2 minutes in which to try to do it. Here we go. The Tynwald Courts, the Parliament of which of the British Isles?
Isle of Man.
Yep. What name of Greek origin is given to subnormal body temperature caused by prolonged natural exposure to cold or artificially induced before surgery?
Hypothermia.
Yes. What suffix that means of the king has been added over the years to a number of English towns and villages?
Royal.
Regis. In the television series Till Death Us Do Part, which irritable television character referred to his wife Elsie as a silly old moo?
Alf Garnett.
Yep. What's the name of the Trojan prince whose story is told in the epic poem by Virgil?
Paris.
Aeneas. What policy did Aneurin Bevan tell the 1957 Labour Party conference would send a future foreign secretary naked into the conference chamber?
Pass.
Who received an Oscar nomination for the title role of John Merrick in the 1980 film The Elephant Man?
John Hurt.
Yep. What adjective was invented by Edward Lear and used by him to describe a hat, a cat, the goose, and most famously, the eating implement used by the owl and the pussycat?
Runcible.
Yep. Hotchy Witchy is the Romany name for what small spiny animal?
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog. Yeah. Which British racing driver who retired at the end of the 2016 season made a one-off return for the Monaco Grand Prix in May 2017 as a replacement for Fernando Alonso?
Jenson Button.
Yep. Of what republic on the Arabian Peninsula is the former British colony of Aden a part?
Yemen.
Yep. What English name is given to thin slices of beef rolled around as stuffing and braised often in a combination of wine and stock?
Pastrami.
Beef olives. In about 1527, to whom did Henry VIII write a letter that said that for above a whole year he had been stricken with the dart of love?
Cranmer.
Anne Boleyn. Which former Conservative MP and media personality announced that she was leaving her first husband, Ray, in 1997, about the same time as a novel, She's Leaving Home, was published?
Curry. Edwina Curry.
Yes. For how many years must the spirit mature in oak casks before it can officially be designated as Scotch whisky?
3.
Yep. Outside what royal palace in St. Petersburg were hundreds of unarmed demonstrators killed by troops as they marched to it in January 1905 in what became known as Bloody Sunday?
Hermitage.
The Winter Palace. You have one pass, Cliff. The policy Aneurin Bevan was referring to was unilateral nuclear disarmament. You have a total now, though, of 20 points. And now Chris again, please. And another 10-pointer. 20 is now the score to beat. So here we go. What word for a song used especially in religious worship comes from the Greek for a song or ode in praise of gods or heroes?
Hymn.
Yep. What is the slowest of the 4 strokes used in competitive swimming?
Breaststroke.
Yep. What is the name of the centrist political party founded in April 2016 by Emmanuel Macron, the winner of the 2017 French presidential election?
En Marche.
Yes. The Waverley series of historical novels were published anonymously from 1814 until 1827, when the author's identity became known. Who wrote them?
Scott.
Yep. Which Greek-born Spanish artist's best-known painting, The Burial of Count Orgaz, is now in the church of Santo Tomé in Toledo?
El Greco.
Yes. What French term is used for food cooked in sealed greaseproof paper or foil?
Pass.
What was the name of Debbie Reynolds' daughter, whose novel Postcards from the Edge was made into a film starring Meryl Streep and Shirley MacLaine?
Carrie Fisher.
Yes. In women's football, which team completed a domestic treble in May 2017 when they beat Birmingham City in the FA Cup final at Wembley?
Manchester City.
Yep. Which English city's minster, dedicated to St. Peter, is the British Isles' largest Gothic cathedral?
York.
Yep. The Egyptian Mao is a breed of what domestic animal?
Cat.
Yep. Which novelist, poet and critic, who died in 1995, was the author of The Old Devils? One of his sons is also a well-known writer.
Pass.
What musical instrument was Patrick Troughton well known for playing when he appeared as the second Doctor in the television series Doctor Who?
Harmonica.
A recorder. Who died on the 1st of May 1873 in Chitambo, in what is now Zambia, during his obsessive search for the source of the River Nile?
Livingston.
Yep. Which metallic element with the atomic number 24 is used in alloys to increase strength and corrosion resistance?
Titanium.
Chromium. What word for an entertainer who specialises in tossing and catching items such as balls and plates comes from the medieval French for such a person?
Juggler.
Yep. The thylacine, a large dog-like carnivorous marsupial now thought to be extinct, takes its common name from the island where it survived the longest. Which island?
Pass.
Stinking bishop, which gets its name and its pungent smell from the perry used to wash its rind, is a variety of what foodstuff?
Cheese.
Yep. Who was the last Plantagenet and Yorkist king of England?
Richard III.
It was Richard III indeed. You had 3 passes. That thylacine
Tasmania.
was Tasmania. Absolutely right. Kingsley Amis was the author of The Old Devils, and that French term is en papillote. Chris, you have a total now of 23 points. And now Alfred again, please. And another 10-pointer, and now the score to beat is 23. So, here we go. What is the name of the 450-feet-high Ferris wheel on the south bank of the Thames opposite Big Ben?
London Eye.
Yep. What term in Hinduism for the incarnation of a deity in human or animal form has come to mean the representation of a person in an online environment?
Avatar.
Yep. The title character of an American television series played by Frankie Muniz is a child genius who has brothers called Francis, Rhys and Dewey. Which series?
Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. Which Scottish author left the novel Weir of Hermiston unfinished at his death in 1894?
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Yep. Headingley, Hare Hills and Hunslet are all districts of which English city?
Leeds.
Yep. What is the name of the British athlete who completed the feat of winning medals at all major athletic events when he won silver medals in the 400 metres of the 4x400 metres relay at the 96 Olympics in Atlanta?
Roger Black.
Yep. Which tiger, found primarily in the forests of eastern Russia, is the largest member of the cat family?
Siberian.
Yes. The ruins of the ancient city of Tikal in Guatemala are one of the most important archaeological sites of which pre-Columbian civilization?
Toltec.
Mayan. What name that means covers or lids is given to the snacks originally served with drinks in Spanish bars and now found in many other countries?
Tapas.
Yep. Who first achieved commercial success with his 1932 novel Stamboul Train? It was the first of a number of his works adapted for the cinema.
Graham Greene.
Yep. What do the initials LED stand for in the field of electronics?
Light emitting diode.
Yep. In 1977, Madsen Pirie and the brothers Eamon and Stuart Butler founded a free market think tank named after which 18th century Scottish economist?
Adam Smith.
Yes. Who first worked as Richard Rogers' lyricist in 1943 on the Pulitzer Prize-winning stage musical Oklahoma?
Hammerstein.
Yep. Which dukedom has held the hereditary title Earl Marshal of England since 1672?
Norfolk.
Correct. Tom Hiddleston portrays which country and western singer in the 2016 film biopic I Saw the Light?
Pass.
In 1836, Sir Charles Barry, assisted by Augustus Pugin, won the competition to design a replacement for a building that had burned down in 1834. Which building?
Parliament.
Yeah. Which Greek hero tamed the flying horse Pegasus and, with his help, killed a fire-breathing monster, the Chimera?
Bellerophon.
Yep. Oof. Didn't quite get to the next question, but there you go. That's how it works. 1 pass. Tom Hiddleston played Hank Williams. You've now taken the score to beat up to 25 points. And finally, Madeline, again, please. So, you start out with that 1 extra point. You have 11, but score to beat, 25. 2 minutes in which to try to do it. Here we go. What name is given to trees such as conifers that are in leaf throughout the year?
Evergreen.
Yep. What is the name of Donald Trump's club in Palm Beach, Florida, that's been called the Winter White House?
Oh, I don't know.
Which dark comedy television programme, an anthology of twisted tales first shown on BBC Two in February 2014, is written by Rhys Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton?
Pass.
What is the name of the broadcaster of propaganda who was hanged at Wandsworth Prison in January 1946 for treason?
Goebbels.
William Joyce, Lord Haw. The shape of Italy is often described as a boot. Which region lies in its so-called heel?
Calabria.
Puglia. Who wrote the novel Black Mischief, a satire on an African ruler's attempt to modernise his country after he was sent to Abyssinia by the Times to cover the coronation of the Emperor Haile Selassie in 1930?
Evelyn Waugh.
Yep. What is the name of the village in Bedfordshire where the Zoological Society of London set up a wild animal park in 1931?
Twycross.
Whipsnade. Who was the ruler of the gods in the religion of ancient Rome?
Jupiter.
Yes. In the 2017 film Viceroy's House, who plays Lord Mountbatten, the last Viceroy of India, who has to oversee India's transition from British rule to independence?
Nigel Havers.
Hugh Bonneville. The 11th century Scottish Queen Gruach is portrayed by Shakespeare as which scheming character?
Lady Macbeth.
Yeah. What name that comes from the Greek for fig and mulberry is shared by a fig tree native to the Middle East and a common British tree related to the maples of North America?
Mulberry.
Sycamore. The dish that consists of a chicken breast stuffed with garlic butter coated with breadcrumbs and baked or fried is named after an Eastern European capital city. Which city?
Kiev.
Yeah. Blepharitis is an inflammation of what part of the face?
Ears.
Eyelids. By what name did Karol Wojtyla become known in October 1978 when he became Pope?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
By what name did Karol Wojtyla become known in October 1978 when he became Pope?
John Paul II.
Yes. What is the surname of Alistair and Jonathan, who in 2012 became the first brothers to stand together on the winner's podium in an individual sport at the Olympic Games since 1908?
Brownlee.
Brownlee is correct. You had 2 passes. That television programme was Inside Number 9. And the name of Donald Trump's club in Palm Beach is Mar-a-Lago. You have a total now, Madeline, of 18 points. So, a clear winner at the end of a very tight contest. Let's have a look at all the scores. In joint 4th place, 18 points, Adam and Madeline. 3rd place, 20 points, Cliff. 2nd place, 23 points, Chris. 1st place with 25 points, Alfred. Which means, of course, that Alfred goes through to the final. Congratulations to him. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us on Twitter @mastermindquiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.